Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. Do-it-yourselfers, listen up. Before you start your next project, visit A.G. Hines Company in downtown Knoxville on Hines Street, naturally. For more than a century, they've had all the building materials and tools you need. The big construction companies trust them. You can too, because they've got the stuff that fits your budget. aghines.com to learn more. All right, let's welcome in the next wave of panelists. Right down here we got VFL Marlon Walls, longtime sports writer Bob Hodge, although he was a V for not very long FL.
VFNL.
VFNL.
All for not long.
Walked on, walked back off. Bob Hodge. Right here we got VFL Sterling Hinton. Thanks for joining us. And looking very dapper, VFL Daniel Hood. Daniel, thanks for being with us today. All right. This week, let's go ahead and put up the numbers to show you. This week, ESPN did a top 100 list of the top 100 college football players, and I went ahead and picked them out by SEC school. As you can see, Alabama had 8, including Henry To'oTo'o, the number 54 player in the country, according to ESPN. Georgia had 7. Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Florida, who's on Tennessee's schedule, of course, had 3 each. Then come Tennessee with 2, along with LSU, Kentucky, and South Carolina, all on Tennessee's schedule. And Auburn has 2. Mississippi State and Ole Miss each have 1. Missouri and Vandy, both on Tennessee's schedule, don't have any top 100 players, in case you're wondering. Tennessee's Hendon Hooker ranked number 49. Cedric Tillman ranked number 60. Looking at that list, Alabama with 8, Georgia with 7, Florida 3, LSU, Kentucky, South Carolina with just as many as you have. Then you got Missouri and Vandy. Is it fair, looking at that, for the expectation, not the goal, but the expectation for Josh Heupel and this staff and this team to win 9 games? Is that a fair expectation? And I will start with Marlon.
I think that's. I think first of all we're a little bit slated to only have 2. I think Jeremy Banks could definitely be in that conversation. I think a couple other guys could be in that conversation, but. I like where we stand. I like it. I think at this point in where we are before the season gets started, anything we can use as motivation to get the guys going. We've had a lot of good talk going around Tennessee football. I like the fact that we are, as a former player, only have 2 guys in that locker room that's on the top 100.
But is
it fair? I think it's fair.
Expect 9? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
The good news. The good news off that list is the 2 teams that have a lot more than you. Nobody expects you to beat them anyway.
Right.
So that, the bad news, the teams that are 50-50 with you have the same number that you do. So, I've since I saw the question yesterday, I kind of puzzled over it. Is the expectation fair? Well, based on that list, okay, yeah, you're right there with the other teams that you're going to be competing with for that second spot. I don't think they can get to 9-3. That's my personal thing. But is the expectation fair? Based on that list, let's go with yes. You just got to win all your 50-50 games.
Would that mean then, the way you answered that Kentucky would have fair expectations of finishing 9-3?
I think Kentucky
They've got an
would
easier
probably,
schedule, so 10-2.
I think right there, that's the kind of the way that I look at their season anyway, is all these teams are just right here together. So expecting 9-3, okay, it's fair, but it's going to be hard to get there in my opinion.
Here's where your positivity ramps up the pressure on the coaching staff. Is it fair to expect 9 wins this year?
Oh, man, well, you wouldn't come to Tennessee if you didn't expect at least that, if not more. That's just me. I can't change who I am. The deal is this. We've got 2 people on that list that are very impactful for each win we will get this year. Hendon Hooker has the ball every down in his hand. Yeah. That's my quarterback. I'm glad he's on there. He has a lot to do with how many wins we get. I think we're going to get 12. That's where I'm at with it.
What's a fair expectation? Is 12 a fair expectation? No, we'll stick with 9.
I figured he would go with 14 or 15.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just talking regular season, baby.
Oh, okay.
Expectations, Daniel. Is 9 fair?
Yeah, I'm going with Sterling. You got to expect 12 on this one. You got Georgia and Alabama both at home this year.
Exactly, baby. Well, Alabama and Florida.
That's good.
Alabama, Florida.
I hope your fans are listening.
It's getting close to
that's
that.
good.
Baby.
Pitchforks.
To me, the number of players isn't as important as, because you still have 11 on defense, you have 11 on offense, you got 11 on special teams. Each one has to play as a unit, and I think our coaching staff has done the best job of the other coaches besides Saban and Kirby Smart about getting those guys to play as 11. You saw our offensive line last year. One guy comes out, boom, put another one in, and the running game stayed mostly consistent except for Cade. But also, as Sterling said, I mean, you always build your team around the quarterback. And so to have that guy on the list is going to be job number one.
Yeah.
But see, I would say on that, D-Hood, just from a football standpoint of what we've watched college football in the last couple of years, you've got to have a couple guys that stand out as top performers throughout the SEC in order for you to take that step to 9-3
You and I both
or
know
12-0, like Sterling just said. You got to have a couple guys that's leading the ship. And for us to only have two, I think that's kind of for that 9-3 mark, that's a little challenging.
We won, what, 5, 6 games when we had Tyler Bray, Justin Hunter, Cordell Patterson. We had A.J. Johnson, Kurt Magette.
Hey, they didn't want to go to the Music City Bowl.
So tell me,
That's
tell
a
me-
whole
There you go.
different thing.
That's
But
an inside the locker room voice saying that.
yeah. Tell me more about how many players, because we had a ton of talent that year, but we didn't have a coaching staff that could get it together.
And the one thing you mentioned was the fact that your quarterback is one of those guys.
Absolutely.
We'll bring this up with you VFLs a little later. A lot of SEC quarterbacks are on that list, and a lot of them are ranked ahead of Hendon Hooker on that list. So we'll debate that a little later. When we come back, one player has his eligibility in question. Another couple of players have been out. We'll take into consideration the positions they're at, how much depth you have at those positions. What is the biggest concern player-wise, guys that are questionable, for Tennessee as the season gets ready to start? We'll be back on the Sports Source next.